and EMS, Whitewater and Fire and EMS respond to West North Street and North Fremont Street for a two-vehicle accident.
Another day, another batch of calls for the Whitewater Fire Department. But in trying times, responding to emergencies isn't what it used to be. Since 1871, a station has protected this community with an on-call volunteer model, but they claim this is no longer an effective measure.
It's hands down our staffing. We've had to ramp up our staffing in order to get our trucks out. The mentality of the volunteer fire department is gone.
The Whitewater Fire Department covers more than just the city itself. Its services span from Johnstown and Richmond to the northernmost point of Cold Spring, in addition to Koshkonong and Lima Center. As the demand for service increases, the number of available volunteers continues to decline.
The station responded to nearly 2,000 fire and EMS-related calls in 2021 and are on pace for even more this year. But the growing concern for public safety is nothing new to emergency personnel.
The board of directors has been very active, and we tried to address it with pay. We threw money at it, and it did help, but there's still a shortage. People want careers out of this, and you have to be able to provide the benefits for that career.
People are working 40-hour-a-week jobs, and then they're being required to come here on their time off. It's a lot to ask for little to no pay.
To ease the crunch, the city is moving Whitewater Fire into its own municipal department. But with the move, employees would receive Wisconsin retirement system benefits in addition to higher compensation. But many believe this needs to go one step further.
It would be wonderful if at the state level some decisions were made that came down even to county level to consolidate services so that we don't have to, at a municipal level, try to handle a challenge that is bigger than any one single municipality.
This is just one example of a larger issue resonating through many smaller communities. In fact, Whitewater isn't the only city looking at their emergency response tactics. Fort Atkinson City Manager Rebecca Lemire said, "The conversations I had with Chief Roush were concerning our volunteer-based fire system and how it is no longer sustainable due to the rising call volume. There is obviously a need for additional support and staffing here in the city." On April 5th, Fort Atkinson passed their own referendum to bolster their public safety services, but it was not an overwhelming victory. The margin was only by 166 votes, with 52% of the population voting in favor. They will have more 24/7 staffing at the station beginning in 2023. This includes in-house 911 ambulatory services. But the Wisconsin EMS Association expressed their thoughts on referendums.
They're not really a long-term solution for some areas. They're going to work in the short term, but there needs to be something that works across the entire state. So as we fund police, why aren't we funding EMS the same?
Researchers from the Wisconsin Policy Forum concluded that providing grants and loans to those wanting to enter the industry might be advantageous. Don Vruwink, who represents the Whitewater area in the Wisconsin State Assembly, would like to provide state funding for this cause, but says it's a tall task.
This is something that I have pushed for every year and talked about, but when you're in the minority in the state of Wisconsin, there isn't much that I can do if my bills aren't going to be heard.
Representative Vruwink also mentioned how state aid has not been cut, but also hasn't increased since the 2012 budget. Additionally, Wisconsin is sitting on a $3.8 billion budget surplus as of March 2nd.
If we don't make some structural changes at the state level, it's going to become a crisis sooner than later.
Many are left curious as to what happens next. City Manager Cameron Clapper plans to bring a referendum back in November. This should cost the city anywhere between $350,000 and $600,000. The city is still trying to figure out, though, how it will be paid for. Reporting live in Whitewater, Sam Matheny, UWW TV News.